Guys, welcome back to another edition of Believe in the Leap. I have with me here Joe Sena, who's the founder and CEO of Spartan, the world's leading endurance brand that has helped over 10 million people push past limits and redefine what's possible. Former Wall Street trader turned ultra endurance athlete, Joe has completed over 60 ultra events, created races so tough they've been dubbed as the hardest on earth. He's the best-selling author of Spartan Up, Spartan Fit, The Spartan Way, and a global voice for resilience, discipline, and mental toughness. And one of my favorite books, The 10 Rules for Mental Resilience, Mental Toughness for Families. So whether he's running a race, raising kids with grit, or challenging the soft culture we live in, Joe's mission is clear: transform lives by helping people do hard things. So Joe, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Making me feel, I was feeling broken today. We're going to host 72 events around the globe this weekend. And I listened to you and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not such a terrible guy. I'm okay.
You say 72 events around the globe?
Around the globe this weekend.
Wow. So you've got to have a pretty large team to manage that many events going on at once.
Well, I wouldn't even say pretty large. I would say pretty damn durable. It's a pretty durable team. This is a bunch of stoics that get shit done in the rain and the snow, and they are the best of the best.
Yeah, I guess they have to be, right? Durable stoics to get that much done in that short of time.
No doubt. With everything that can't, it's almost as if the universe always tests us, because anywhere we host a race, it's either like 110 degrees, there's a locust storm, there's like a tornado rolls through, perfectly blue skies, everything's going well, tornado warning.
Yeah. Man, well, and you're all over the world, so you've got to, be ready for anything, like tornado, hurricane, snowstorm, pretty much anything nature can throw at. Hey, there you go.
Ready for anything. Ready for anything. Amazing. I wrote that during the pandemic.
That's incredible. That was not planned, by the way.
No.
That's awesome. So you've helped millions redefine what's possible from couch to conquer, turning grit into a lifestyle. So as someone who's leading men to break free from the status quo, live with faith, fire, and freedom, I've personally been deeply inspired by your story, and I'm excited to dig into what really fuels the man behind Spartan. So I'm excited to ask you a few questions, learn about you and what you're doing. I've ran a couple of the Spartan Ultras. Excited to do it again this year, and loved it's changed my life. Helped me push past beyond what I thought was possible, and helped me be a new person for my family, and now getting other friends to do the same.
For anybody out there that's listening or watching that doesn't know what a Spartan Ultra is, imagine a woman giving birth and she finally delivers the baby, and then the doctor says, oh, there's another one coming. That's an Ultra.
That's a good perspective. You know, my favorite moment on that race is, and I did it here in Texas at Granbury, is coming through the finish line of the first loop. Everyone's celebrating, getting their beast medals, and realizing, okay, this is round one, and I have to start all over again.
You got to go back out. You got to give birth again.
Got to give birth again. Yep. That's it. That's awesome. So I know you've built this, Joe, kind of on the idea that suffering reveals who we really are. So I'm curious, what's one moment of suffering that has shaped your identity more than any victory that you've had?
I mean, look, it didn't feel like suffering at the time, but I grew up, if you saw the movie Goodfellas, I grew up ground zero for Goodfellas. It was a crazy, crazy time. Lots of people getting arrested, people getting killed. I was a young kid. Lifestyles were terrible back then. It was cannolis, ravioli, cigarettes. Well, who knew any better? Again, I was a young kid. You're a product of your environment. And then my mom, in an effort to save her mother, my grandmother, found yoga, meditation, health food, which was very strange at the time because there was no Lululemons or yoga journals back then. So I would say there was a whole period of suffering in there. I mean, my parents used to fight physically. It was tough, and the whole neighborhood fought. I remember, I don't even know if it would be politically correct to tell you all the things that I physically saw at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. So that was suffering for sure. And then at a very young age, I got into business. And business has been a combat sport 46 years. I mean, stress and aggravation and anxiety for 46 years. It's been, my father used to say, you got to have the stomach for it. I didn't know what that meant. I know what it means now. We all look at Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos and we wish we can be them, but you have no idea. Like my neighbor growing up was the head of the Banana organized crime family, and everybody wanted to be him. He had the big house. He had all the respect, the rolls of $100 bills. And one day I said something to him, and he said, "Joe, listen, if you put your problems on the table and I put my problems on the table, you'll take your problems back. And you know, like whatever, maybe he was looking at a lifetime sentence. He was dealing with lawyer, like, right? Like, so my point is, I've been suffering in a good way, because I'm not here playing the world's smallest violin for 45, 50 years. And it's just part of life. It's just part of the deal. Today might be a little harder than yesterday or last week. You know, pandemic was really tough for us, but like, I have tremendous perspective. I don't know if I learned it. I don't know if I just had it innately. Maybe I'm a reborn stoic from, 2,000 years ago. I don't know. But like, I have perspective. Like, I get to do this. I was doing burpees this morning. It was, 5:30 in the morning. I go to this little spot out on the sidewalk. I tie up my dog and I try to get a jump start on my workout where my buddy shows up. I like to get there early so that I can get 50, 70 burpees done before he even shows up. So those are in the bank. And I'm doing the burpees, and then he shows up, and I'm probably, complaining to myself or whatever, right? Going through whatever my headaches are, my problems are. This was yesterday. And this guy wheels by in this wheelchair, one leg. He's going backwards because there's a slight incline in front of me where I'm doing my burpees. It's 5:30 in the morning. I don't know, maybe he's going to find some food. I don't know what his situation is, right? But like, he's coming from a rugged part of town and heading to where 7-Eleven is. And I'm thinking, what the are you complaining about, Joe? Like, are you kidding me? You have clean clothes on. You decided to do burpees because you have food in the fridge. You have a business to go to. You have friends and family. Your kids are healthy. You get on an airplane. You got your legs. So, and by the way, me just telling you this right now, I do it for a reason too, because it helps me. It helps me get through whatever I'm going through right this second. And so I just have tremendous perspective. Hey, Joe, how was your flight? And people get pissed. You don't sit in the front. People think I fly a private plane. I'm in first class. The plane landed. The plane did not have to land. And I got to remind myself that like my big luxury on a flight is sitting in an aisle seat. That's my big I'm so excited. I got an aisle seat. I have a hoodie. I put my hoodie on. My other big little luxury is as soon as the plane takes off, I'm not supposed to do it, but I let the seat recline a little bit so the person behind me thinks that maybe that happened by accident and it wasn't me and I won't get in trouble. And I go to sleep. And right, like, so yeah, I've suffered a ton like everybody. My cousin died six months ago. She was in her late 70s. I spent a little bit of time with her before she passed. She was a very beautiful woman, like off the charts, like ridiculously beautiful woman. She married at a young age. 6 months into her first marriage, somebody came in the house, killed her husband. I grew up in that Goodfellas world, right? She marries her second husband. He gets MS. They have 2 kids. He dies. Her daughter gets MS and dies. Her sister gets cancer and dies. Her mother gets cancer and dies. Her father dies. Every time I went to my cousin's house, the one that I'm describing, she was happy as can be. She's making meatballs. She's happy to see me. Want to make some pot. So you want to talk about suffering. It's not if the suffering is going to happen. It's not when the suffering is going to happen. It's how do you react to it? Do you have perspective or not? Because you're not in the Civil War. That must have been rugged.
Yeah. There was a recent show, I think you interviewed someone on, and one of the takeaways was living like you're already dead and having that kind of stoic mindset. Do you feel like that mindset helps in situations like that?
I wrote to somebody today, I wrote to a young kid, gratitude is your most powerful drug. You need to just be grateful that we're on this side of the dirt. Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot of shit going on today. I could keep you on this friggin' call for 10 days. I got a lot of headaches, a lot of shit. Sky is falling, problems in every direction. But I don't know, I'm on a call with you. We're using this really cool technology. I'm sitting here, I'm breathing.
I think it's that value that you're able to bring to help us all get perspective, right? What we're facing in our days might not be the same that you're facing in your day. That might not be the same as the guy on the wheelchair and what he's facing in his day. So I think the constant reminder of perspective, I'm the same way whenever I'm pulling out of my house. I always take a moment and think about that gratitude of I have a house to come to. I have a beautiful wife, 2 amazing kids. And it's the small things that I think we just take for granted in our Western culture sometimes of what we don't have instead of what we do have every single day that we forget about.
What we don't have rather than what we do have. I like that sentence.
So I know pandemic was really tough for Spartan, but you guys pulled through. You had virtual races, trying to keep things going. What
Yeah, we should not exist right now. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I'll only get into it because I think it'll help give perspective to any entrepreneur, anybody dealing with shit that's listening to this right now. But like, we had already sold, call it $50 million worth of tickets when the world shut down. So if you're me, you now get shut down. You've got 500,000 people that want to kill you because you canceled their race and they want their money back. And you're like trying to explain that the way the event business works is when you pay for your ticket, we spend that money. We got to buy insurance. We rent trucks. We put people on airlines. We're spending money every day. But many people that don't own a business don't understand that it's not like the day the event happens, you write all the checks. You've been writing checks the whole way leading up to the event. So I want to do the right thing, and I tell everybody, I know you're upset. The world's only going to be shut for 2 weeks. There's no way they're going to keep us in our houses. Everybody gets 2 tickets on me. So I give away $100 million worth of tickets. 2 weeks, the world's going to open up. It's going to be fine. Well, the world for us didn't open up for 2 years. So when the world opened back up, it was a muted restart. It wasn't a powerful, oh my God, when we announce races are back, it's going to be incredible. We're going to sell so many tickets. That's not what happened because California wasn't quite ready. Canada wasn't quite ready. Different markets around the world, people had different opinions. You can't go outside yet. You're going to die. You got to wear a mask. Other people were like, let's get out. So it was a very muted start. And that muted start was compounded because I had given away the first $100 million worth of tickets. So here I launched 300 events at once. Never done that before. You think about how this company started. It started with 1 event. And then it went to 2 events. Then it went to 4 events. I had to start 300 events at once. That's like, imagine in a factory trying to get all those machines going at once, right? They're rusted. They've been sitting dormant for 2 years. We get the whole thing going. First $100 million doesn't come in the door. Muted start. We are burning cash like it's 1999. And we're on the brink. And I owe the government money, and I owe vendors money, and I owe racers money. And it's an absolute disaster. We should have quit. I mean, it would have just been so easy to just go bankrupt because no one could have said, hey, Joe's an idiot businessman because we got shut. It's a very logical. I mean, Cirque du Soleil went bankrupt. They were backed by VC. Everybody went bust. I said, F it, we're not going bust. We're not doing it. And thank God the athletes worked with us, the vendors worked with us, 90% of the employees worked with us, and we fought through and we lived to fight another day and another day and another day and another day, and finally it looked like, okay, you know what, we're going to make this. And then the Wall Street Journal calls. This was my low point. The Wall Street Journal calls, and they're doing a cover story in the bankruptcy section about how Spartan's not going to make it, right? And so I'm finally seeing light, like a pin light, in the distance, in the dark tunnel I'm in, and this writer from the Wall Street Journal, who's going to get more clicks because it says Spartan and Tough Mudder, is going to do a story. And you can imagine that story is not necessarily going to give people confidence to sign up for races, which is the very thing we need to keep happening to pay the bills from the mess from the government. And so anyway, at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wave the white flag. I'm going to go bust. And that was like 18 months ago. And then I remembered, no, Joe, what happens when you're on a journey towards success, when you're on a journey towards finishing anything worthwhile finishing, at the lowest possible point, the naysayers show up. Told you not to marry that guy. Told you not to marry that girl. Told you your knees were no good. You shouldn't run that marathon. I told you shouldn't have left your job and started that business. They show up at the exact moment where you are weakest. And I remember that's just what's going on. The universe just tested me. So they printed the article. I did the interview. They printed the article and nothing happened. We carried on. We lived to fight another day and another day and another day. And so, look, I'm 95% through all my blemishes. The most disheartening part of the whole journey wasn't all the money we lost, wasn't the hardship, wasn't that it was easier to go to sleep some nights than it was to stay awake. It was none of that. It was that there were a lot of people close to us, not a lot, a half a dozen people close to us that somehow found benefit in making it harder on us, right? And so again, I got to apply a gratitude lens to that and just say, well, just wanted to make me more resilient. That's all. They were doing me a favor.
So that's what an incredible story is. Was that the moment whenever Wall Street popped up? Do you think that was the moment where everything kind of got, like you made the decision to do whatever it took to bring that continued resilience and push through? Or was there a moment where you decided to tuck away the white flag and keep pushing?
I think I had made that decision earlier. I think this was, I had already fought through the bloodiest moments. This was a perceived major threat. This was an ego attack, right? This was like the universe just taking one more shot at us and saying, "Are you sure you want to continue?" Yeah. You know, but we were already through the hardest moment. And a lot of times in a moment like that, where you're about to get on the phone with a reporter who's going to put you on the cover and really rip you apart, the fear of what that might bring is worse than the reality, right? Like, here's all these things that might happen, and you get wound up in it. But, you know, they did an interview with a bunch of elderly folks that are, you know, on their last days. And what they hear over and over from the elderly are like, all those things I was worried about never came true. Why did I worry about those things?
Wow. Yeah. Isn't it, I forget the saying, but something about fear is just a state of mind, and usually the outcome of that isn't near what what fear is causing. Like,
That's right.
The image that fear does inside of you is far greater than usually what actually happens.
Yeah, the visual, as you said, that would be this giant monster you see in the mirror, but really it's a princess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. So tell me, Joe, like man, I'm so inspired and grateful that you fought the fight in Spartan, thinking of how many lives are continued to change and be touched. And
Hey, listen, I get these all the time. I got to tell you one, but 2 days ago, the guy, I start my burpees every morning. I wait for that workout partner, my accountability partner, to show up. I told you about. He had to go see General Fenton, who's head of SOCOM in Tampa 3-4 days ago, and he played wheelchair rugby with a bunch of veterans. And he said, Joe, it was completely unprompted, but one of the guys in the wheelchair came over and told him, my accountability partner, told him his story. And again, I get these all the time, but this one is just from a few days, so it's just unbelievable. He said, listen, I came home from a tour. I found my wife cheating on me, completely heartbroken. He goes, but that wasn't the worst of it. A week later, I got diagnosed with cancer, a really aggressive form of cancer. They gave me a month to live. He goes, I decided at that moment I had too much to give and I was not going to tap out. So whatever they had, no matter how terrible it was, give me the worst chemo you have. Let's just go for it. And I'm getting a journal and I'm signing up for this thing called Spartan Race. So I have some. And he goes, I just want you to know you were part of saving my life. And it's like,
wow.
That's why we do this.
Yeah. I mean, you can't hear those stories and not feel that movement in your heart. That's incredible.
Yeah.
How many of those you don't hear too, right? I know whenever I'm trying to, in the F3 world that I'm in, we call it EHing, which is an emotional headlock. We try to get people to join. But whenever I try to eat people into Spartan races and they show up, you know, they're feeling sorry for themselves, and they see those veterans up front getting pushed in a wheelchair. They see the guys in full uniforms pushing and pulling over the obstacles. Yeah, can never get enough of that. And I'm just imagining how many more of those stories are out there of life change and transformation happening every day. It's
Agreed.
incredible.
Agreed.
So what would you say, Joe? I mean, you live this life of discipline, up every morning doing burpees, cold showers. What would you say is like a first step? So a guy that maybe wants to break the comfort loop in his life and he doesn't know where to start. What would be a good first step for him?
I would say, and again, I keep bringing up this number for no other reason than to explain how long and how long I've been doing this and how many conversations, like 12 million people have crossed the finish line. I've had a lot of conversations. So when you ask that question, like, all right, how should I start? It's like, it's not even a fair question because you know how to start, whoever you are. You know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put your sneakers on first thing in the morning. You're supposed to go outside. You do not have to go run 26 miles. You just need to go for a walk, right? You don't have to buy a very expensive cold plunge or red light therapy or a sauna. Turn on a cold shower. It's cheaper anyway, right? Why? Because it's going to shock you in the morning. It's better than coffee. It has all kinds of health benefits, and it's going to guarantee you don't go back to bed, which is the real threat, right? So like, this guy I had met years ago said, hey, same thing. Just want you to know you changed my life. And he went through this thing and he said, you know what I tell myself every morning? I said, no, what do you tell yourself? He goes, sneakers on. I go, I love that. So what I would tell that guy is sneakers on. If it's 4 a.m., great. If it's 5 a.m., great. If it's 9 a.m., great. But like, don't do it at night. Because if I understand if you got a night shift or whatever, but if you say you're going to do it at night, 99% of the time, again, 12 million people, 99% of the time, you're not going to do it. You're going to give me 15 reasons. You're going to give yourself 15 reasons why. Early in the morning, you got a shot. You got a really good shot at getting it done. I've been out early in the morning since 1983. I got to tell you, since 1983, in New York City, in Queens, in Florida, in Vermont, in Singapore, in Tokyo, in China, in Vancouver. I've lived in a lot of in Boston. Early in the morning, I'm lucky to see 3 people anywhere in the world early in the morning. So I know that you, whoever you are that are asking me the question you just posed, you're probably not doing it. You're probably not putting your sneakers on, because if you were, I'd see more than 3 people out there every morning.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. I think in addition to that, I would say like pre-deciding you're going to do it, like having it ready when you wake up. So you're not basing it on emotion, but you've got your shoes out and you just decide to do it. Decide to do it the night before, so you don't think about it.
No, if you're asking me about hacks that get you to do it, accountability partner. My buddy claimed that he got some kind of measles shot the other day, or he got some kind of shot, smallpox, chicken pox. I don't know what the hell it was. Some excuse he gave me as to why he wasn't there. But it was harder for me because I didn't have my accountability partner didn't show up. So make sure you got an accountability partner. Or F3 is very fortunate. You guys have lots of accountability partners. Make sure you tell your friends, your family, put it in your local newspaper, get a billboard if you have the money, that you are doing this so that you're embarrassed if you don't. Tell people when you don't so that you're embarrassed, purposely embarrassed, so that you feel that pain. Right? I didn't do it. Like I'm honest about it and it really pisses me off when I skip or I missed a day. That I gotta post in my little chat group. I gotta say I didn't get any done today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. It's funny at F3 we call that a fart sack. So if someone commits an accountability that they're going to show up and they don't show up, there's an audible call out.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's jump to kids real fast. So I know you've raised your kids with discipline that most adults run far away from. What do you think is one of the non-negotiable lessons that you've taught them that you hope they carry into adulthood?
Well, I've tried to put in no particular order. I'm just going to go stream of consciousness here, and I'll also explain some of the mistakes I made that hopefully another parent doesn't have to make. Number one, I said to the family, our family should always be defined as hard workers. We may not be the smart. I know we're not the smartest. We're not the best looking. We're not this. We're not that. But we can be the hardest workers, and we need to be the hardest workers because if you don't have those other attributes, you can still get very far in life and be happy and have gratitude if you're just a hard worker and you appreciate work. So that's number one. Number two, there are a bunch of things you could do as a parent that are 5, 10, 15 minutes long. If you do them every single day with the kids, 7 days a week, no days off, doesn't matter if it's a birthday, if it's raining, Christmas, does not matter, no days off, 5, 10, 15 minutes, a little bit of math, a little bit of another language, and certainly a workout. I mean, we did it every day, 7 days a week, probably till the kids were 14, 15 years old, because at that point I lost control of most of them. But from 2 to 14, there were no days off, none. We did math, we did another language, we did a workout, we did every single day. And I'm seeing the fruits, the rewards of that labor. I would say a mistake I made, and we're recovering from it now, we're optimizing for that now, is that I spent so much focus on what I just described, that language, that sport, that workout, that math, that I didn't focus on some things that are really, really important. And I would say life skills. Like, hey, you forgot your boots? Too bad. You're going to have to ski without boots today. Can you go figure out so-and-so how to pay for that ski ticket? I forgot my credit. Like, put them in the firing line every chance you get, even if that means you guys are going to have less hours skiing today, or you're going to get into the movie late, or whatever it may be, because really the lesson isn't about the skiing, and it's not about the movie, it's not about the wrestling, it's all the obstacles between where you are and getting through that thing. You forgot your wrestling outfit, whatever, like purposely screw that up. There's a great story about Michael Phelps' coach knowing that this was the guy, and he was going the distance. And so they would purposely lose his duffel bag on a trip. They would purposely give him the wrong plane ticket. They would break his goggles without him knowing, because they needed to prepare him for when something really went wrong. And so if I had to do it again, it would have been sneaking in more more of those daily obstacles that you and I and other adults, have had to deal with and become proficient at. But I was optimizing for more ski runs and more time on the wrestling mat and more math in a perfectly controlled environment in the kitchen. And it should have been like, we lost the math book. How are we going to get another one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so interesting. So creating intentional challenges to help them grow in their resilience.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, so I know you do the Spartan, it's the death race, right, for kids?
Death race, death camp, death race for adults, death camp for the kids.
Yeah. Do you feel like the death camp for the kids, does that instill some of those qualities by going through that week or that weekend?
Yes, 100%. But you can, as a parent, let's just say you were sending your kid to any camp or to death camp, it would be like, all right, we got to mow some lawns to make some money to pay for death camp. Hey, we got to get in touch with Joe and see if he has room at this year's death camp. Oh, you got to pack your own bag and then purposely lose some of the stuff that the kid put in the bag. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. But death camp for sure turns their life upside down. I mean, the whole thing is made. It's designed to get them to cry and break.
What age did that start at for the death camp?
I mean, my daughter started when she was 4. So I take.
Yeah, and that's a group, right? A small group that you take.
Had
through
about
that.
100 kids. It's the last 2 weeks, any part of the last 2 weeks of June. Most civilians I don't know, most of the kids I don't know show up for the last week. Friends and family I know come the week before and they stay the whole 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's incredible. So what would you say, Joe, for one of my favorite lines of Jocko, discipline equals freedom. What do you think for yourself? What's one maybe daily habit or system that you've built that gives you more freedom?
Save the fun for later, right? Everybody, I've had 100,000 people take a photo with me around the world, like, hey, can we grab a photo? And I force everybody to cross their arms and no smile because I was in a hotel once in the middle of New Hampshire, in the middle of nowhere, overnight, getting ready to go to one of our events. Tiny little hotel, no chance I would bump into anybody I know. They've got like this tiny little gym with 3 dumbbells in it and nothing. And I'm in there getting a quick workout in, and a veteran walks in. And he hobbles in, and I say hello, and he goes, "You're the save the fun for later guy." And I said, yes. I'm that guy, the save the fun for later guy. So that's my mantra to me and my family. Like, we could have fun later, maybe, or maybe not, or maybe this is the fun.
Yeah. So how did he know you were the safe front for fun?
I have no idea. I don't know.
That's great. That'd be a pretty good Spartan shirt right there.
It would be. Yeah. You'll know at the finish line was one of our great taglines. That was by accident. You'll know at the finish line, and that really sums it all up.
Yeah. So tell me about what the next mountain Spartan is climbing. Like, what's the future for Spartan? What does it look like?
Well, we want to be the Louis Vuitton of hard shit, right? So we want, when we acquire a customer into our hard way, let's say you come in, you might do ultras on the Spartan side for 5-6 years. You might be like Yara and do it for 10 years and she's got over 500 races under her belt. But most people, they do it for a while, 5 years, 6 years. And then you still like the attributes of what this does. So then maybe you're like, you know what? I'm going to bring 30 of my friends out. We're going to do a Tough Mudder. And then you're like, oh, Joe's got this hiking thing. We're going to do this 80-mile hike. Like, so I want to assemble, and we've been assembling, which has been very hard with COVID, these different disciplines so that when you come in, I keep you doing hard things because for all the reasons we just said in this conversation, you need to. If you don't, it's like a muscle. You start to lose your calluses. And so I just got to make sure that I keep you going, right?
Love that. Yeah. So it's an ecosystem. What's the next hard thing to do?
Yeah, exactly. So we've got DECA. DECA is hot as hell. Hybrid fitness is hot as hell. I love DECA. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna be confusing what I'm about to say to people, but like my problem with DECA, with hybrid, is it's indoors, it's fluorescent lights. I love the fact that people are getting sweaty. I know it's hard. It's very hard for me when I go out and do a DECA. But like, there's a lot of science, there's a lot of biology, there's just no comparison to getting dirt under your fingernails, getting sunlight, getting in cold, dirty water. And there's just nothing like it.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I look at like a well manicured greyhound doing DECA. I look at a wolf doing Spartan Tough Mudder Trail. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah, it's a good comparison. I love it.
Yeah.
And you've got the Spartan Trail too. That's worldwide. The ultra
Yeah.
trail running. Is
Yeah.
that going pretty well?
It's going very well. Yeah, going very well.
That's great, man. I'm excited to do that. I'm doing a 52-mile trail race tomorrow.
Oh, I love it. I love
So
it.
super excited. And then we're doing a Leadville this summer. So we're
Ooh,
doing
all right.
50-mile and then hopefully next year the 100-mile. But yeah, I'm getting addicted to the outdoor,
I love it.
grueling, hard miles.
Come to the farm. Invite on us a bunch of F3 folks next year. Look up. I have a race on the farm called Blood Route.
Yep.
That's a good one for you. Another great one for you is Patagonia. Down in Patagonia, we have a big 100-miler, which is incredible.
Okay. Yeah.
The other one, the F3 community should come out to the farm this June. Invite everybody out on me. We have this thing called the Farm Experience. What that was a death race appetizer. So I figured there's a whole bunch of people that want to be around the death race and experience like the general store and the town and the aura of the whole thing. But like you might not be ready for death race, so come out for the Farm Experience.
Yeah. We'll do it, man. I know I've got a bunch of guys that just did rim to rim to rim and Grand Canyon and looking for their next big endurance adventure. So that'd be a blast. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll take you up on that. That's great. And you did, what year did you do Badwater, the 135 miler?
I'm going to be guessing 2003, 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, of all the, I know you've done a lot of crazy ultra distance runs. What's been the most, maybe just the toughest one that you've ever done?
So along that same analogy I gave with the Greyhound and the Wolf, when I did Badwater, that week I did a 100-mile run, Vermont 100. I went out a few days later, did Badwater, and then I went and did a Lake Placid Ironman. So in that week, I knocked out 250, 60 miles in running, the bike, the swim, whatever. Sounds like a lot, but it was literally more like the Greyhound. The Wolf, the opportunity I got to act like a wolf, and I did a lot of what I'm about to describe, was when I did the Iditarod by foot. And that, it was 30 below temps. It was brutal. It was survival. At no point during Badwater or Ironmans or trail runs, even if they're 100-mile, at no point did it ever feel like I'm going to die because there's aid stations, there's people, like it's just different. Iditarod and the 20 or so events I did like that, but mostly Iditarod, it didn't feel like there was an aid station there wasn't. It was like Red Bull had brought a Russian vehicle to the start of this race, okay? And they were going to show off Red Bull and it was branded and everything. There's a phenomenon that occurs when there's massive snowstorms in places like Alaska, which I had never. There's so much snow and the weight of the snow, it pushes down on the ice if it's like marshy underneath, and the friggin' vehicle sunk. It was gone. It just to set like the stage for what this thing was, and like. Yeah, that was crazy.
That's insane. And was there anyone else running on foot? Was that an organized?
That wasn't the plan. We were supposed to bike it, but there was so much snow that no one could really bike. Anyway, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, Joe, thank you so much for being on the show with me, and I love just walking through. I mean, we covered perspective, resilience, family, so much here to unpack. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, it really is just that, the perspective, like what we're going through versus what someone else is going through, and having that gratitude mindset, and just waking up with gratitude and not forgetting to push ourselves every single day, do hard things, know that we're capable of more, and not ever losing that, no matter what age we are or where we're at in life, in a wheelchair, going up a hill, whatever. There's no excuses to get that stuff done.
No excuses.
Anything in closing that you want to share?
Sneakers on. I got a new journal because journaling is good. The Hard Way Journal. If anybody wants a Hard Way Journal, shoot me an email. joe@spartan.com.
That's incredible. I've been reading a lot. I study Brendan Burchard. He's like a high performance coach.
Yep.
And he talks about, just the power of journaling. And he said, if there's one thing, no matter what state of mind you're in, the scientifically proven way to get better every single day is journaling. It's as simple as that.
I love it.
And he had a line that said, hey, he works with high performers, and he said, I'm not journaling. And he tells them, I can't help you.
I like that.
Like, if you can't afford a journal, I can't get you your next breakthrough. It's on you.
Well, the Hard Way Journal, if anybody needs one so that he will help you as a coach, let me know. Shoot me an email. We'll send you one.
And what would you say for anyone that's looking to do the hard thing, like sneakers on, for Spartan races, guys. There's Spartans all over the United States. You heard how many he's doing. Like, go to Spartan.com.
Spartan or Tough Mudder, Spartan Tough Mudder, anybody out there that's in your community that needs tickets, if they run an organization, let's say they have a company, a real estate agent, whatever they have, and they need 100 entries, whatever, just hit me up. Hit me up. Like, I'll get you the, whatever. I'm never going to let the price hold somebody back from doing that because I know how powerful it is.
Yeah, man. So good. Thank you. Sneakers on.
Sneakers on. All right, you guys are awesome. See ya.
Thanks, Joe. See you next time.